What's up, YouTube? It's Nate from Team Lotus. Here to do another deck profile. It's going to be Josh's Madolches. So here we go.
Alright, so we're going to start with the monsters first. We have 3 Madolche. The core of the deck, she's 3 Stratoses. Usually 90% of the time when you summon her, you're going to get another one out just to thin out the deck. And then now for the next searcher, the 3 Madolches. A lot of people like to use 2, but I prefer 3 because it can get the Chateau out a lot easier, and if you have one in your hand already, she's a 21 beat stick, so usually first turn that is a very good start to go. I run 3 Muse. It's a Marauding Captain, and with the Messengelado, he has to be on the field to use her effect because she has to have a face-up Beast Madolche to resolve her effect. I run the 2 Cruff. 2 Cruff. He's amazing. He can be a level 3 or level 4. If you have a Madolche card up on the field, you just bounce it back to your hand, and you can make him a level 4 1800, and it's permanent. So if people think that it's just for that one turn, you can just torture him for that. I run 1 Madolche Chevalier. It's a 22 beat stick if you have him first turn. He's a level 4, just pretty good. And then the 1 Pudding Cess. A lot of people feel that Pudding Cess doesn't need to be used anymore after the support from Abyss Rising came out, but I still feel she is really good. And if you do notice, this being the last monster, I run no hand traps, and that's necessary for her because she has to get that 1800 boost to make her a main asset. Onto the spells. 3 Chateaus, Field Spell. It's amazing. It's just all these Madolche cards that you can get can go back to the hand if you have this card on the field. And also, if you have this card on the field, Madolche Ticket, they go back to your hand. Not only that, but you also do get a search back to your hand. It's the Black Whirlwind Wind-Up Factory. And if you control a Fairy Madolche, such as Pudding Cess or Tiara Misu, who we're going to get to later, then you can special summon the one you search. So that's very, very lethal. I run 2 Pod Dualities. One thing about Madolches is that they are a very slow deck. Compared to the Mermails and Spellbooks that you're going to be seeing a lot running around, this deck is not going to be as fast as them. It's a little bit more what you would call control-ish, so you're going to need this to get all your searches, to thin out your deck more. 2 MSTs. A lot of decks do require 3, but for this deck I feel 2 is just perfectly fine. Besides, if they do anything like Torrential or Solemn... Oh, main thing about Madolches that you want to remember. If they Solemn Warning or Judgment it or any like destruction effect by their card, the cards go back to the deck, or if you have the Chateau, they go back to your hand. So if you are playing with it or you're playing against it, always remember that. And then I run the staple Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, and Dark Hole. Run it or you're bad, sorry. Alright, so now on to the traps. I run Compulse. Compulse in this deck is, you could call it mandatory, because it's not only one of the best traps of the format, but also Madolches, it serves another purpose. Because Ticket does say, when they're brought back to the hand, you do get a search, Compulse can also serve this purpose. So if you do want that extra search at their end phase, or if you want to protect something of yours and you have this on the field, you can't get that search. I run Bottomless and Deep Prison, the banishing traps of my deck. The reason why I feel Bottomless is now a necessary card is because a lot of the decks, newer decks, do run cards that can be special summoned that can cause you an issue, such as the all-popular secret Megalo Abyss, Mulan Glacia, High Priestess of Prophecy. Any of those cards that come out and could cause an issue, I always like to have that. And Deep Prison is just Deep Prison, you have to run it. And since I don't run Effect Veiler, I run 2 Fiendish Chain. It still gives me the plus that Pudding Cess can have, and also they can attack, so if I'm in an area where I have to keep monsters on my hand to set up for combos, I can just use this, sit on this a bit, just watch out for what monsters I should hit. 2 Warnings. Gotta run them. A lot of people like to run 1 ever since, I believe it was Botang with his Thunder Rabbits at Providence, since he only ran 1. But I believe with this deck, you should run 2 because you don't want to have any issues that you could stop. Starlight Road. since you do run the field spell, you do run a Black Whirlwind type, and with all the traps you run, it's really good to have some card that you can have faith on that can protect it. And then we're going to get to the last 3 traps, which I call my win conditions. We'll get to this in a bit. Madolche Palooza is sort of a rekindling from the hand for all Madolches, which is really, really powerful because they just go back to the deck. Chateau doesn't really affect it. And one cool combo that if you ever try to run this deck is, let's say you have a Mew or a Cruff and a Messengelato in hand. Like Rekindling and like all those cards, they are simultaneous. So if you do have Messengelato and he comes out with this, he does get his search because they're technically on the field at the same time. And then, besides offering gadgets, the one reason why this card was banned, or limited to 1, sorry. This card can just start so many combos, keeps you going with Cruff and Mageline, your search thin. It's just too good not to run. So, side deck first, good?
Yeah.
So, 2 TKs. TK's very good this format. All the searching, all the monsters that can be special summoned. You just need to run it, and it's a 1900. Really good move, especially if you have traps to protect them. I run 1 System Down and 1 Cyber Dragon. Geargias, honestly, I don't feel are an issue for me, but they can be that one deck that can kind of give you a little trouble. So, 1 System Down, 1 Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon, I like to run against other decks such as Heroes or something like that for a free special. Kind of like to bait out all their cards. I do run the hand traps in the side, 2 Max Cs and 1 Effect Veiler. I usually do keep the Fiendish Chain in, so I feel that Effect Veiler is not that necessary. But she is a tuner, so I like her. And then 2 Max Cs, Wind-Ups. The Mermails can be a little issue with their Deep Sea Divas. It's just good to keep them just in case. Oh, and putting Sus is definitely out during this time. Gemini Imps, fuck Dark Worlds. I run Messenger of Peace. Messenger of Peace I feel is really good in the deck because you can stall out, especially against the big beater decks, and you can hold out until you get your plays with Offering or Madolche Palooza. Goes a match, they're all Earth, what can I say? And then 2 Shadow Mirrors for also the deck that I mentioned earlier, Dark Worlds and Insectors. They have gone a little bit more popular again, so it's good to just keep these out just in case. And then finally for the extra deck, Sexy Gorse token. I run Tep Tempo. If you don't know what this guy does, read him. He's amazing, especially against decks that, if they get to a point where they need to run Zen mains and you have advantage, just bring this out this guy. He gains 500 for every material detached, and it detaches from them. Acid Golem, big beats. Zen mains. He's one of Zen mains, there's nothing you can really say about him anymore, you know. Invoker. This deck, if this card doesn't go up because of this deck, I don't know what it's going to take to get him up, because this card is very powerful with the Madolches. And also, if you want to just give us a couple of likes, like maybe 50 likes, or maybe 10 since we're not really that known yet, I can do a video where I can show you the combos that can go with Madolches, just in case if you want to know. Baddest Bitch in the XYZ Arsenal Tiramisu. This card is incredibly broken for the fact that you can return cards on your opponent's side of the field to the deck, and you can return your Madolche cards to your hand if you have Chateau, and also because she's a fairy, she works with Ticket. Fairy King, you never see him on YouTube because no one runs Earth decks, but he's a good out to Gores, and if you have like a whole field of like against you of like separate things, like if wind-ups or something like that, just decrease them by 500 and go after him. Cowboy, really good. Anything under 3,000 you're going to kill. Defense, lose 800, burn deck. Maestroke, level 4 Zen mains, rank 4 I mean. Pappy, really good exceed. Switch him to attack, make him lowered, really good. Utopia, reprint it all the time, you have to know what this does. Stardust for the road. Scrap Dragon, because I always like him in my extra deck, in case if I do have a chance to use him. And then the Chimera attack, because I do side Cyber Dragon.
Just a couple questions. Do you feel like it's hurting you a lot to play one card, Pudding Cess, over like 5 or 6 or 7 hand traps? in your main deck?
The thing about it is that I really feel pudding sets can be good, even though I do have her at 1, because you can get her onto the field or to your hand so easily. And also, I've had a lot of times where people have a mind game where they think I'm going to have Maxi or I do have Valor, and that's why Phoenix Chain is so good, because they think like the setup's a bluff, and then you try and go for effect and you just let Phoenix Chain, they're just like, they're saving that Maxi, they're saving that Max, or the Valor, so it's just all about mind games, and also Pudding Sets is a damn good card, so.
What about Madolche Palooza?
Madolche Palooza.
What was your reasoning behind that? Because that doesn't seem like something that people would normally run in the deck. It doesn't seem like.
A lot of people do complain about it, but I just like her because with the hand advantage you can get, with all the searching, with all the plussing you can get, you wouldn't want to risk something like, let me ask you this. With Levels, are you going to run Rekindling? With Madolches, you run this, they run Rekindling. That's only fair bargain.
Alright. So anything else you want to say about it? Or?
Honestly, it's a really underrated deck because people did focus on the Mermails as soon as they came out. But I feel it can be a very, very powerful competition against the meta for the fact that because people run traps now that really do focus on destruction, they just keep coming back, they never leave, and they're just really trolling, so it's a fun deck.
Alright, cool. So, alright, this is our Madolche build right now. Comment, rate, subscribe. Bye, YouTube.